Brainstorm, bringing great minds and ideas together, exploring a wide variety of opportunities, achieving academic excellence, using the latest technology, government's impact, preparing for 21st century careers, parenting and health issues, topics shaping tomorrow. Brainstorm with Lisa Willever, bringing great minds and ideas together.
Hi, welcome to Brainstorm. I'm Lisa Willever, and today we're talking about healthy schools now. Before we begin, let's learn a little bit more about our topic. Every day across the country, men and women hit the roads for their daily commute. While many work in clean, safe, modern environments, many will work in conditions that cause illness or injury. In fact, electric, plumbing, and ventilation issues create less than optimal conditions that can even result in air quality issues. Unfortunately, many unsafe and unhealthy workplaces not only endanger employees, when they are in our schools, they endanger our children. It's time to take a look at aging schools with the same lens we use to view professional buildings. Joining me today is Jarrell Blakely. Jarrell, you are the coordinator of Healthy Schools Now, and congratulations, you are a newly elected councilman, so you're getting out there and making a difference.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations and good luck on your first term. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here on Brainstorm. As you mentioned, my name is Jarrell Blakely, and I have the pleasure of serving as the campaign organizer of the Healthy Schools Now coalition at the New Jersey Work Environment Council. Healthy Schools Now is dedicated to a simple idea. Every student, regardless of zip code, deserves access to a healthy and safe school environment. And so we have a coalition of about 50 organizations dedicated to advancing policy through advocacy as well as organizing to make that a reality for all students in New Jersey.
Now, I would imagine perception is probably a problem in getting the word out and getting public buy-in, because I was an inner city school teacher. I knew what it was like to work in a building that had air quality issues and a lot of issues that were visible and some that weren't really visible. And it was very difficult. Now, if your child goes to a school that's new or in really great shape, or you don't have children in school, I would imagine a lot of people think, by the 21st century, schools have to have been, modernized and caught up. So there has to be some kind of resistance, I would say, just for people to actually wrap their mind around the fact that schools have these issues. But in the 21st century, do we still have schools with issues?
Absolutely. That's actually a really good point. Before I took this job, roughly 2 years ago, I spoke with a colleague and we talked about, the job and what it entailed. And I said, hey, who could be against healthy and safe schools for all students? This job is going to be basically pretty easy. And he gave me a response that really was very informative. He said if it was a universally beloved idea, it would be a reality already. And so people may not say explicitly that they do not want healthy and safe schools for everyone, but they'll use euphemisms like, well, we don't have the money, or they'll use excuses like maybe next year. And so it's something that is important for all New Jerseyans. Public education is really the engine for economic opportunity, and schools are the cockpit of that engine, and it's really important that students attend safe and healthy schools. Unfortunately, too many students attend schools that are crumbling. We have schools in many of our inner cities that are over 100 years old, and because of a lack of resources, they are not kept in the best condition. This is personally impactful for me. I actually attended Trenton Central High School, which was a school that was in pretty bad shape. And Healthy Schools Now was extraordinarily instrumental in a fight for a new Trenton High. So future students in the city of Trenton don't have to attend a school similar to the ones that I attended. And so I look forward to really discussing how we're advancing the fight for healthy and safe schools in New Jersey. And hopefully we can be informative and an example for other advocates around the country who are interested in making sure that their students attend healthy and safe schools.
Absolutely. My grandfather went to Trenton Central High School. And when he went, this is when it first opened, it was
beautiful.
The jewel. I mean, it was considered the nicest school in the country when it first opened. And I think a lot of times it's lack of maintenance, and it's just putting it off for the next administration, or, kind of kicking the can down the road. And these things really, once they start crumbling, they crumble faster and faster. So what are some of the issues that you find or that need to be addressed in schools today?
Sure. So when you look at temperature control issues, that is, in terms of temperature control issues, is a really critical issue in our inner city schools, as well as our inner ring suburbs. And so you have students that lose valuable classroom time because the temperatures can exceed 100 degrees when it's hot outside. Also, we're seeing increasing cases of schools being closed because of conditions that are cold. So when it's cold outside, pipes are breaking and infrastructure is being impacted in a negative way because of the cold. And so temperature control issues is one issue. We also have issues related to asbestos. We have issues related...
Which is hard to believe in this day and age. Schools are, I know Trenton High,
Absolutely.
Before they tore it down, that was a huge issue, and kids were just a few years ago. And I know all over the country, these issues are happening, and you wouldn't think asbestos would still be an issue at this point.
Absolutely, and it's something that is just not an inner city issue, even though it is a major inner city issue. We have a lot of our inner ring suburbs that capital is fleeing to outside of those suburbs, and they're are having real concerns around school facility quality. And so in New Jersey, we have something called the Abbott versus Burke court decision. And Abbott versus Burke is one of the most important court cases since Brown versus the Board of Education. One of the Abbott cases related to school construction inequities between different districts. And so the state Supreme Court mandated that the State Department of Education actually do something around school facility issues. And so it led to the creation of the New Jersey Schools Construction Corporation, which is now the New Jersey Schools Development Authority, which is responsible for constructing schools in the 31 former Abbott districts. We're talking about our state's most impoverished districts, including Trenton.
Most
vulnerable children, including Patterson, Trenton, Camden. And also they're responsible for something called the Regular District Operating Grant Program, which provides grants for other districts that are non-SDA districts. And so New Jersey has really been in the vanguard of addressing facility issues as it relates to schools.
So now this is a national problem. Have other states also been able to keep up with it, or is this something that's epidemic, everybody's experiencing?
Well, as schools age, this is really becoming a national infrastructure issue. New York City has been in the vanguard of making sure that their schools are up to date. In fact, the current mayor has instituted a policy to ensure that all schools are actually air conditioned. And that's something that we hope spreads around the country, because it sends a message when schools in poor districts have to close because of the heat, and schools in affluent districts are open because they have the necessary technology to keep their doors open. And so it really is a social justice issue. And I'm really excited about working on behalf with our coalition partners at the Healthy Schools Now Coalition to move the ball forward as relates to ensuring that all students have access to a healthy and safe school.
Well, I know when I taught in the inner city, and as an author who visits schools, I visit a wide range of schools every school year. And I am in very affluent school districts. I'm also in very high poverty and vulnerable districts. And many of the urban schools are 4 stories high.
Indeed.
And they don't have air conditioning. And these are not buildings that would be easy to retrofit and put central air in. And there are often times where they don't have the day off.
Indeed.
That they're there and they might put a little fan on. And when I go in for an author visit, it's sad to see the kids can't learn. You can't think.
It is awful.
Everybody's just lethargic. And,
you
know, you kind of think, why are you having them come in?
It's not
education.
It's not education. And so I actually taught at Trenton Central High School, West Campus, before becoming the Healthy Schools Now organizer. And it was awful. We were less than 1.5 miles away from the State House. And we were...
The air-conditioned State House?
The air-conditioned State House. And so, you know, at HSN, we bring these issues to the forefront. And so one thing that we did is I wrote an op-ed for the Star-Ledger where we juxtapose the fact that Governor Christie wanted to spend, you know, more than $400 million to retrofit the State House. At the same time, he was failing to put resources to retrofit schools. And so at Healthy Schools Now, we serve as an advocate and we serve as a, we kind of ring the bell to alert people to hypocrisies that exist within our state government that allow the State House to get a $500 million retrofit while we have schools right on the same street that are crumbling and falling apart.
And you know, you think about it, the generational gap also must play a role, because when we were kids and we went to school and we would come home and complain how hot it was, you know, all the parents on the street, grandparents would say, when I was a kid, those schools were even hotter. And it was almost as though going through school your whole life and not having air conditioning and suffering was like a badge of honor. You know, we made it. I don't know why you need air conditioning. You know, schools aren't supposed to have air conditioning. And then you also have the fact that many seniors who are now on fixed incomes, they really can't see their taxes go up anymore. So then they don't have children in the schools anymore, and it doesn't seem as bad the farther you get from it. So you have these generation gaps too, where people who have children in the schools are more likely to support it, and people who are more removed from it, they just sometimes don't seem to recognize the issue.
Well, that's a really good point. And one thing that I would say is that folks who are working would, particularly in office environments, couldn't dream of an environment where there was not air conditioning. I totally understand people's understanding, saying, hey, you know, it wasn't that bad when we were young. But I would say that we're looking to move forward. And there's some things that we should move forward on, particularly as it relates to ensuring the proper temperatures in public schools. Studies have shown, a plethora of studies have shown that there's a negative impact on teacher quality as well as student performance when you're talking about temperatures that can exceed 100 degrees in the winter, in the summer and in the spring.
And even the fall sometimes.
And even the fall. And also I would say that, you know, global warming is real, and our springs are getting hotter, our falls are getting hotter, and so the impact is more dramatic today than it was in the 40s and 50s.
I agree. We will be back in just a moment. We're going to take a short break and we'll return with Jarrell Blakely talking about Healthy Schools Now.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Brainstorm. I'm Lisa Willever, and I'm here with Jarrell Blakely, and we are talking about healthy schools now. Jarrell, we were just talking about air temperature. There are so many invisible issues that happen in a school building.
Yeah.
I know when I was teaching, we had air quality issues, and it wasn't until I think I was there 5 years by the time they figured out that our where the air comes in was right next to where the air went out. So we were pulling the bad air back into the building. You know, there are so many things, electrical issues, so many things that happen. You know, how do you identify? Do you have a team of inspectors? How does it go? Is it federal? Is California doing the same thing that Texas is doing and Massachusetts, or how does that all work?
Well, you have your national OSHA standards.
So guidelines.
So you have your guidelines, and then you have state guidelines. In New Jersey, we call them POSHA. It may be different in California or Washington State, but I would definitely look at guidelines from state and federal agencies that deal with occupational health. Now, I would definitely say that these issues are only going to get worse, and there needs to be a real national investment in making sure that these issues are addressed. Listen, many of our schools were built, you know, during the Great Depression. Many of our schools were built, you know, after World War II. They're ending their time or their useful life expectancy. And so it's important that we address these issues in a holistic and dramatic way. You can't do it on the cheap. And I'm hoping that the federal government makes this a priority, because there's not a lot of federal funding for school facilities, and there needs to be.
And you know, budgets really are more than numbers. They are a reflection of your priorities.
Indeed.
And when you're not making maintenance a priority, like let's not even talk about the schools that are in dire condition. How about the ones that aren't there yet, but with the proper maintenance wouldn't get there? Do you see a push for that? Are people working on it besides healthy schools now?
Absolutely. So this is something that is a dramatically important issue because you have to get to schools before they're crumbling. Often, it's not cost effective to repair schools that are too far gone. And so it's important that we are proactive rather than reactive, and that takes resources. Unfortunately, we're in an age of austerity where we're barely paying teachers a living wage in many of our states around the country. And so school facility maintenance becomes less of a priority because there are other issues that need to be addressed. I think that is being penny wise and pound foolish. It's really important that we do something about schools that are not in really bad condition, so that we can prevent them from being in bad condition. And it's just so important. I think Benjamin Franklin had a good quote. He said, he said it's more important to have, I forgot the quote, but we'll get to it. Okay. I think it's something a matter. Can we erase that?
Oh, no, let's just keep going.
Keep going? Okay, good.
Yeah.
You got to get that out of here.
I'm a huge Ben Franklin fan. I'll give you one. Well done is better than well said.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
He said,
let's just do it.
You know, I know what he said. He said an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. That's what it is. He said an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. So it's important for us to be preventative rather than after the fact looking to, you know, address these issues in dramatic ways.
And it costs more money to put a whole new building up than it does to just maintain over time.
Absolutely.
You know, in the long term, it costs so much more money to just neglect things, because then you hit that point where you have to replace them. And I know when I visit schools, it's amazing. I visit some schools that are state of the art, beautiful, you know, auditoriums. I've been to schools that have theaters in them, amazing. And then I go to schools where there's buckets collecting the water. The water is just dripping in, cracks in windows, so it's cold. Kids are wearing their coats.
And here's the thing, no one is surprised. Like, everyone can point to their school within a few miles that is considered the school that's fallen apart. And that school is generally populated with minoritized populations.
Well, it's your low income, less power, vulnerable population who doesn't have an opportunity to speak up.
And that's why we need coalitions like Healthy Schools Now, comprised of a litany of organizations dedicated to speak for folks who who often aren't heard. And so when you look at Trenton High and the battle for a new Trenton High, Trenton High was mere miles away from some of the highest quality public schools in the country. And this was a school that I attended that was falling apart. In some instances, students and teachers could smell dead mice in the walls of the school. And it took a concerted organizing effort through Healthy Schools Now, with union partners, with advocacy organizations, making sure that the powers that be were clear that it was unacceptable. And we think that the battle for Trenton High is a model that can work for other communities.
So districts all around the country could really look and see Trenton Central High School. If they look it up, they can see the steps you took.
Absolutely.
So that if they have buildings that are unsafe and really unacceptable for the students and the teachers, then they can follow what you guys have done. So you're kind of like a trailblazer here.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. We are more than 50 years away from Brown versus the Board of Education. And Brown versus Board of Education was all about eliminating separate but equal. Unfortunately, in New Jersey and states around the country, not only are we still separate, we're unequal. And I think for us to live up to the Warren Court's decision to ensure that we have schools that are equitable, I think it's important for us to fight for school facilities. Listen, education is so important, and I always say it's the passport to the future. However, we are not living up to our nation's creed when our schools are so demonstrably unequal. And it's truly a social justice issue, and it's a matter of fundamental fairness.
What are tips you have for parents if they're not happy with the school that their child's attending, they see problems? What are some of the tips you would give teachers and parents who want to really start a grassroots campaign?
Well, I have three suggestions.
Okay.
Organize, organize, organize.
That should be easy to remember.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And I would say that I'm reminded of a quote from Frederick Douglass. He said that power concedes nothing without a demand. Initially, people may say, they may give you all kind of euphemisms for no. They'll say we don't have the money. They'll say the school is fine as it is. They'll come up with all kind of artful ways and loopholes to say no. And what you need to do as an organized community, as a coalition of parents, you need to say, no, our students deserve better. And that's what we do at HSN with our partners, including the New Jersey Education Association, including New Jersey Work Environment Council, including a number of different union partners, including the Patterson, Plainfield, and Trenton Education Associations. We are dedicated to ensuring that all students have access, and we work on the organizing front as well as the policy and legislative front to ensure that that's a reality.
Well, I'll give you a quote from my grandmother.
Good.
And that is, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Absolutely.
So if you see problems in your school, they're not going to just get fixed because you hope they will.
And here's the thing, I'll say
work.
this. It takes work, and no one is coming to save you. Trenton High would still be the catastrophe of a building that it was.
I was going to say disaster. Like catastrophe.
If we didn't do something about it. And because of the efforts of all of the partners of HSN and other community partners in Trenton, we are a mere year away from a brand new state-of-the-art school. And that was only done by organizing, organizing, and organizing.
Now, with your organizing, you have to make sure they maintain,
Absolutely.
and maintain, because I think that's going to be the key here.
Indeed.
With all the new buildings that are coming.
Absolutely. Listen, you could have your most beautiful, powerful sports car, but if you don't get your oil changed, you're in trouble.
And I think the message for the public is that when our schools succeed, our communities succeed. When these children come out of school and they're prepared for the workforce and they're prepared for college and they've had a great experience and they're not sick from being in the building and teachers aren't getting sick, that's better for everybody.
And let me say this, I think it sends the wrong message. In Trenton, we had a beautiful state-of-the-art courthouse erected in no time. At the same time, we had a crumbling public school, high school, disintegrating before our eyes. So we need to make sure that we send a message that education is important, and one of the best ways of doing that is to ensure that the actual school building is a healthy, modern, safe, inviting place for people to learn and work in. And that's what we do at HSN.
That should be obvious. So hopefully by you saying that and giving the viewers from all over the country really great tips, maybe they can make that happen and those changes occur in their communities.
Indeed.
Now, are you ready to play some brainstorm?
I am.
Okay, so here's how we play. We're in the tradition of brainstorming. We're going to brainstorm right now. So we'll go over 8 ideas. If they're good, we keep them.
Okay.
If they're bad, just like when you brainstorm, you ball them up and
Indeed.
you get to make some baskets. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Number 1, healthy schools impact staff and student health.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Number 2, generations of students survived school without air conditioning, so it's really not a big deal.
I'll do that myself.
Oh, you took that one, didn't you? There you go.
Got it.
Good job. Okay, that's without a backboard, so that's pretty
I know,
good.
Right?
Budget should focus on the important things like programs and supplies.
No, I don't think it's either
Limited,
or.
yeah.
It should be both. So we're going to.
There we go. Health and safety issues only affect low-income populations.
It affects all people. It affects low-income people a lot,
More,
but
yeah.
it's also affecting middle-income folks as well. Oh, crap.
You know what?
Leave it
I didn't see
alone.
that. What?
Exactly.
There it is. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Health and safety issues are exaggerated.
Oh, man, I'm going to dunk that.
Well, you're probably playing more than anybody.
I know.
These problems exist because the teachers don't care.
That is insane.
There we go.
That is insane. I don't like that.
Okay. Everyone in a community benefits when schools succeed.
Absolutely. It's an investment. What did I say? Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Okay. And health and safety issues should be part of a long-term planning goal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
And you know what? I think that is the key, like long-term planning. When we're talking about schools are not built temporary.
Mm-hmm.
They should last a long time, and they would last even longer if we maintain them and we do the proper upkeep. So I wish you a lot of success in
Thank
your
you.
first term as a councilman. I know
appreciate it.
you are going to be the change you want to see.
Absolutely.
And with Healthy Schools Now, I hope all over the country people pay attention and follow what you're doing so they can make changes in their community and ensure that their students and teachers are in a safe, healthy building.
Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity. And I want to thank my partners, the New Jersey Education Association, as well as our other 49 partners who are dedicated
big coalition
to our idea, safe schools for everyone.
Great. And I want to thank the viewers for watching. We will see you next time on Brainstorm.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms.